Australia up against Wales in Pool D. Massive, massive clash. It doesn't get much more important than this one in terms of the pools. So, in all likelihood, whoever wins this one goes through top of the group. No guarantees. Still got other games to go, but probability states that's the way it'll go. Both these teams opened up their campaigns with wins. Wales over Georgia and Australia over Fiji. So, also, both played one really excellent half of rugby. The Aussies in the second half with their set piece especially were able to really dominate Fiji and claw back a good win in the end, although it was looking a bit shaky to start with. Wales, on the other hand, opened up all guns blazing and then kind of tailed off. A wee bit of talk that maybe that was intentional by Wales not to show too many cards, but I guess time will tell for that one. So, yeah, it looks like it's going to be a massive game. It's a very hard game to pick. You look at the recent records, the last 5 results, it's all been Australia apart from the most recent game. So it had been a very long time since Wales had managed a victory over Australia, but they did it last year, 9 points to 6, in which was a game largely about the defence. Very hard for both sides to break each other down. You had the likes, I think it was Tipperick and Pocock just getting turnovers left, right and centre. So very, very tough game, but Wales kind of fitting in with their form, over the last, I guess, kind of 18 months. They managed to get that win. So in terms of that mentality about having not beaten a team for a long time, that's sure gone. Despite the fact that it's still 4-1, Wales will have no illusions about their own capabilities for defeating Australia. Australia, a lot of people were talking about them perhaps losing to Fiji, but they managed to step things up. So again, hopefully their confidence levels are high and both teams go into this one really looking to get a good win. As I said, last 5, it's been 4-1 to Australia. Average is 24 points to 14, but as I said, most recent is 9 to 6. So read into that what you will. I'll put the teams in the description so you guys can have a look. There's a few changes for the Aussies. The Welsh lineup is relatively stable. Remember, Australia played on Saturday, so they've got a nice break between the games, so just over a week, so kind of 7 days rest, which is good for them. A lot of the times, there's that quick turnaround, so if there was a time to have a decent break between games for the Aussies, this is probably a good time to have that. Although that being said, Reece Hodge has been suspended for 3 games, so he will take no part in this game following his high shot on Yato in that Fiji game. So they are forced to make some positional changes. They've brought in Genia and Foley at 9 and 10. Last week it was White and Leali'ifano. So White swaps with Genia for starter and the guy riding the pine. So Genia gets the start. Foley wasn't even in the squad last week. He comes in and Leali'ifano drops out of the squad. And Leali'ifano, to be fair, didn't have his best game against Fiji, so perhaps that is a form thing. Koroibete remains on the left wing. Adam Ashley Cooper, the old man in the squad, he's on the wing. We will soon see whether he's got the legs to play on the wing at the highest level. So, I mean, he's played there a fair bit before, but the guy's not as young as he used to be. So we'll see how he goes, or whether they kind of shuffle his position around throughout the game, because Michael Cheika does like to do that a wee bit. You've got a number on your back, but it doesn't necessarily mean you stick through those traditional positions throughout the whole game. And Dane Haylett comes in at fullback, so Kurtley, Beale drops to the bench for this one. James O'Connor, Samu, Kerevi maintain their spots in the midfield. So that's the backs. The back covers like White, like I mentioned, Tamua and Beale. Forwards, you got Latu, Alaalatoa, no changes. Rodda and Arnold, second row, no changes. Pocock, Hooper, and Naisarani, no changes. So the forward pack is the same forward pack that was last week, and as I said, it was kind of the forward pack that ended up getting a win over Fiji. For the Aussies, forward replacements also unchanged. Uelese, Slipper, Kepu, Coleman, Salakaia, Loto. That's it for them. Wales, also kind of a story of minimal changes. They've virtually made none. The starting 15 is the same. So Wyn Jones, Ken Owens, and Thomas Francis in the front row. How they go at scrum time against the Wallabies will be an interesting one, because the Wallabies aren't traditionally known as a big scrummaging team, but this Wallabies team is pretty good. In Super Rugby, the Brumbies guys, which make up the 2 props in this Wallabies front row, They were very good, and their maul, which proved in the Fiji game also, was one of the main strike weapons in Super Rugby. So that seems to be filtering its way up to the Wallabies. So that'll be an area for Wales to watch out for. Jake Ball and Allan Jones in the second row. I think Allan Jones is going to break the all-time Wales test caps when he runs out for this one. I think he's going to replace Gethin Jenkins as the out-and-out number one test cap getter for Wales. I think it's going to be 130. So kudos to him. What a career that guy's had. Wainwright, Tipperick, and Navidi in the back row. I did read one article that said Warren Gatland was tempted to bring up Moriarty, but ended up just kind of sticking with consistency. But Moriarty is still on the bench if needed. The backs, again, it's the same Gareth Davis, Dan Biggar, Hadleigh Parkes, Jonathan Davis. Hadleigh Parkes apparently does have a slight broken bone in his hand, but it's not causing him too many problems. He was on New Zealand TV here being interviewed, and he still gingerly shook the hand of the guy who was talking to him, so seems to be not too bad. He kind of said she'll be right, but that has meant that Lee Halfpenny drops out of the bench, and Owen Watkin is there as kind of cover for him, I guess. So that's the only change in the squad, is Halfpenny off the bench. Wings, still Josh Adams, George North, Liam Williams, and yeah, the rest of the squad, Elliot D, Nicky Smith, Dylan Lewis, Shingler, Moriarty, Thomas Williams, who was a real live wire when he came on last week, Reece Patchell, and as I said, Owen Watkins. So consistency key for Wales, but you got to remember they played on Monday, so it's a much shorter turnaround for them compared to Australia, and they've made fewer changes. So we'll see how that goes with the weather and whatnot, whether that has any effect on the Welsh performance. Ideally, they would have liked a longer break, but that just kind of is what it is. It's World Cup time. So, yeah, it's going to be a massive, massive game. How this one goes remains anyone's guess. And if you look at the predictions, again, it's very close. The bookies have got Wales as 1-point favourites for this one. And Rugby Forecast, the algorithm, has Australia as 1-point favourites for this one. So there's pretty much nothing between these sides in terms of where the predictions are at. I feel like, anecdotally, I've seen a fair bit more confidence in what Wales are doing, but that just could be because Australia generally had a pretty terrible 2018. 2019's arguably been a bit better. A very good win over the All Blacks, but all the other results kind of middling, nothing all that spectacular. So this would be a good chance for Australia to put their foot forward, but also likewise for Wales, good chance for them to really prove their case and perhaps top the pool. It's going to be a fascinating one. You guys let me know your thoughts on the squads. How do you think this one's going to go? Any predictions? And yeah, I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.